Welcome to Beer and Iron, where the skillet's hot, the beer's cold, and every dish is seasoned with a good story. Grab a beer, set that cast iron on the heat, and prepare to flip your expectations. We're serving up tales and recipes that are well seasoned and never half-baked. This is where the good stories live. I'm Sulae, your cast iron confidant and culinary storyteller, armed with a pot, pan, and a punchline, ready to serve up tales, whip up dishes that won't disappoint, and rescue your taste buds from the tragic fate of bland suppers. Now, y'all, I'm gonna have to be honest. Not all the meals I've cooked have been yum-worthy.
What?
I know. It's hard to believe, right? Nah, it happens to us all. We've all committed our sins in the kitchen. Burning toast, over-salting soup, and using baking soda instead of baking powder for that most memorable of fishy flavors. But none, I tell you, compared to the culinary sin known as serving dry chicken. I'm about to give you a surefire way to avoid tough chicken, both for tonight's meal and for pre-preparing chicken for the week, so you can have quick meals that taste like the weekend, even on busy weekdays. Dry chicken, oh my gracious. You know, it starts innocently enough. Someone says, "Oh, I'll just cook it a little longer to be safe." Next thing you know, the chicken breast has achieved a new state of matter, officially classified as culinary drywall. The dog won't even eat it. Dinner guests are already Googling how to decline a chicken dinner once it's already been served. Grandma Kelly once said,
"If you serve dried chicken, don't even bother setting the table. Just hand out extra iced tea and apologies."
And she was right. Nobody likes dry chicken because it betrays the very promise of poultry, juicy, tender, and forgiving. Restaurants know this too. That's why they drown their chicken in sauces, gravy, or cheese. Anything to disguise the fact that someone cooked it until it was begging for mercy. Truth be told, dry chicken is not inevitable. It's preventable. You just have to show that bird a little tough love before cooking. I'm going to give you the brief. First, you got to tenderize it. A few firm taps with a mallet break down the muscle fibers, evening out the thickness so it cooks evenly. Then you got to brine it. A soak in a salty beer brine, sometimes with a little seasoning, lets that chicken absorb moisture and those seasonings at the same time. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. I'm going to describe the way I do this for myself and my family. Usually on a Sunday afternoon, I'll take as many chicken breasts as my family and I will eat during the week. 4, 6, maybe even 8 chicken breasts. You'll need a large bowl. A large zipper bag, usually a 2.5 gallon size, will work great. A gallon size will work great for about 2 to 4 chicken breasts. You'll need a tablespoon measuring spoon, a drying rack or a tray, and some paper towels. I'll explain as we go. Now, I know plastic cutting boards are getting a bad rap these days, but I still use them for this process. Plastic cutting boards rarely remain flat after that first dishwashing. Cutting chicken on an uneven board is one thing, but tenderizing on an uneven board is frustrating. Place a kitchen towel under that cutting board. It'll buffer a lot of the banging sound. Before you start tenderizing, mix up your brine so that salt has more time to fully dissolve. You can create a hot brine and let it cool, or you can use a quick brine and use it right away. My suggestion, use the quick brine method. It serves me well every time. Here's my brine recipe. For every 12 ounces of beer, add 1 tablespoon of salt. Yep, a tablespoon. Use a bowl or a zipper bag for this process. My preference is the zipper bag. What it does is it gathers the chicken breast closer than the edges of the tapered bowl, and that way I can use less brine, less beer. And I use the zipper bag afterwards. That way I can store the chicken breast for later in the week. Follow my lead here. It'll all make sense soon. Your V8 head bonk moment is coming soon. For very thick chicken breast, stand them up sideways and slice them into 2 pieces. The bone side of the chicken breast may not cut in a fillet as nicely as the top skin side, and that's okay. Use your irregular cut pieces that don't take on that fillet shape for recipes like stews, soups, and meat pies. Let's cover, briefly, the science behind brining. Now, you remember back in junior high science class, osmosis. You've heard that word, I'm sure. Chicken breasts are naturally low in salt, Imagine taking a bite of plain, unseasoned baked chicken. It's disappointing and bland, isn't it? When you prepare a beer brine, the salt dissolves into the liquid, the beer, making the brine taste as salty as the sea. In comparison to the chicken, the brine is overwhelmingly salty. Sodium and water are like best friends at the party. Wherever sodium goes, it drags along a whole entourage of water molecules, sometimes 6 at a time, because sodium never parties alone. Toss in seasonings like sage, smoked paprika, or rosemary, and suddenly you've got a full-on flavor conga line, everyone hitching a ride on the Salt Express. When you brine with beer, it's not just science. It's a Mardi Gras parade marching down Chicken Street, tossing out beads and doubloons of flavor everywhere deep into that chicken breast. Wait, Mardi Gras parades and breast. Turns out they have a lot more in common than you think. This analogy, it totally checks out. Simplistically speaking, the beer brine with all its flavors will migrate deep into the chicken breast, creating flavorful chicken that's ready for any number of recipes. Usually we brine untenderized meats for an afternoon, overnight, a day, or even a week in the refrigerator. But because we're mechanically tenderizing the chicken breast, we've created more surface area for the salt and flavors to migrate into. When salt and flavor are added to the inside of the chicken breast, it tastes so much better. Trying to flavor in salt, bland, disappointing chicken after it's been cooked still results in disappointing chicken. Sooner or later, you're going to be looking for the ranch dressing, I guarantee. Let me help you decide on what beer to use in your brine. First, don't brine with a beer you would not enjoy drinking. In other words, don't use crap beer, C-R-A-P. What is crap beer? Crap beer is subjective. Someone's crap beer may be another person's daily go-to beer. Use a simple lager you'd enjoy drinking with friends. Don't use your most favorite and expensive craft beer, C-R-A-F-T, either. Those flavors may drink well, but they don't brine well. A mild, easy-drinking lager is perfect. Avoid bitter beers or hoppier beers. As far as quantity of beers to brine with, 2 beers are good for 2 chicken breasts. 3 beers are good for 3 to 4 chicken breasts. 4 beers are good for 5 or 6 chicken breasts. 5 beers for 7 or 8 chicken breasts, and so on. How many beers you'll use also depends on the size of the chicken breasts. Not all breasts are created equal, as you well know. Okay, now let's turn up the beat. It's time for tenderizing steps. I'll be honest, this art of tenderizing chicken breast is best shown, not just described. Listen to it here first, and then if you have questions, check out a video that I've got on beerandIron.com. If you still need a pointer or 3, reach out and ask. Send me an email. I'll get back with you. This is one of those recipes you're going to want to tweak to match your own salt preferences. I can't taste what salty tastes like to you. But once you've got it dialed in, I'm confident that you'll skip the restaurant options in the future. You'll hear your family say to the waiter as he comes by, "Man, that chicken was good." And when that waiter walks away, they'll finish that sentence, "But not as good as Daddy's chicken." That's how sure I am about this method. First, grab your needle tenderizer, a gadget bristling with rows of stainless steel teeth or blades. Give the chicken a few assertive taps on the cutting board and watch those needles dive in like tiny little flavor scouts, opening up the meat and paving the way for the next step for your chicken transformation. Now take out your tenderizing mallet and gently pound the chicken breast until it's at an even thickness. Begin at the apex, the thin, pointy end, and work your way toward the thicker side. Thanks to the holes from the needle tenderizer, the meat spreads out easily, so there's no need to go overboard with the pounding. Some folks prefer to cover the chicken with plastic wrap before this step. I don't do that. But if it makes things easier for you, you go right ahead. Don't be surprised if the thicker end of the chicken breast looks a little rough after pounding. It won't resemble ground chicken, but you'll notice a more rugged surface texture. That's perfectly normal, and it just means the meat is ready to soak up all that flavorful brine. Once the pieces are cut and tenderized evenly, let them soak in the brine for about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. That's not a long time, but saltiness, like a beer preference, is personal. It's subjective. Your first try might yield chicken that's a little undersalted, or maybe a bit too salty, or maybe just right. Jot down how long you brine the chicken so you can dial in your perfect timing next time. And remember, I can't taste salty for you. But I do know this: if you leave the meat in the brine for too long, it'll end up too salty. So keep an eye on the clock. After the hour to hour and 15 minutes after you've finished brining the chicken, remove the chicken and set it out on a wire drying rack over the sink in a single layer. No drying rack? No worries. Use a tray or use the cutting board. That rugged surface on the chicken breast in the thicker area will act like a sponge, soaking up too much of the brine. While many recipes only suggest pat drying the meat, in this case it's absolutely essential. You need to remove the excess brine before cooking or storing. We want the magic of osmosis to bring just the right amount of saltiness into the chicken, not leave it tasting as salty as the brine itself. So grab a thick pad of paper towels and press down firmly on each chicken breast, making sure to soak up any extra brine from both sides. If you start with a 4-pack of chicken breast, you'll end up with 4 to 8 pieces depending on how many you sliced horizontally. If you're going to save pieces for later in the week, line the empty zipper bag you used for brining with a single layer of paper towels, just enough to absorb the extra moisture. These paper towels are going to work a lot like the pad that came in the butcher's packaging that the chicken came in originally from the grocery store or the market. Place the chicken pieces you plan to store on top of these towels in that bag. Press out any air, seal the bag, and roll it up before you place it in the fridge. The rest are ready for tonight's supper. Bon appetit. Now I know we haven't cooked the chicken yet, but still, we're going to stop here. There are countless recipes where I use tenderized beer brine chicken breast. It's one of my foundational go-to preparations or recipes. Just like bone broth, creating a roux, whole baked chicken, or a good low and slow roast. This is a base recipe I rely on again and again. Whenever you see chicken breast pop up as an ingredient in one of my recipes, you can bet this is the method behind it. Is this process really worth the effort? Absolutely, hands down 100%. I won't beat around the bush here. Once you get the hang of it, you'll never want to prepare chicken breast any other way. And once you've got this down, you'll be able to whip up a batch in no time and still have your beer half full. There's nothing better than coming home after a long day at work and still having enough time to do more than just make dinner. I know I've got ready-to-go chicken breast waiting on me in the fridge. I could just skillet up a few of them golden brown and enjoy them with a few sides such as green beans, potatoes, or stir-fried broccoli. Heck, y'all, I could create some bite-sized pieces, sear them in a 5-quart cast-iron Dutch oven, add some onion, some garlic, a bag of peas and carrots, and a nice beer-based chicken bone broth, and oh man, there you go. You know, cooking chicken this way has almost become a religious ritual in my kitchen. I can almost imagine a kitchen sermon going something like this.
Hear me, O hungry brothers and sisters. Gather round the sacred skillet, for today we confront the greatest culinary sin of our age, the plague of dry chicken. Too long have our tables suffered the tyranny of tasteless parched poultry. Too often have we watched loved ones gnaw in silence, their eyes pleading for mercy, their beer glasses empty, and their spirits broken. But lo, redemption is at hand, for Brother Sulae's wisdom echoes through the ages. Moisture is life. Let us cast out fear, ignorance, and the curse of overcooking. Let us embrace the path of tenderness, flavor, and juicy salvation. Raise your spatulas high and prepare your hearts, for I bring forth the 10 commandments of dry chicken, so that never again shall your guests reach for ranch dressing in desperation. The 10 commandments of dry chicken. Thou shalt not overcook thy chicken. If thy poultry squeaks or crumbles like ancient parchment, thou hast sinned against the skillet. 2, remember the tenderizer and keep it holy. A few gentle taps prevent the curse of the rubbery breast. 3, baptize thy chicken with brine, for moisture is life, and a well-brined bird is a juicy bird. 4, Thou shalt not trust only the clock. Use a thermometer lest thou wander in the desert of dry chickenness. 5. Respect thy cast. Iron above all cookware. For cast iron brings forth golden crust and juicy flesh. 6. Let not fear rule thy oven. Cooking just a little longer is the path to culinary ruin. 7. Bless thy chicken with butter. Sear thy bird in butter or oil to guard from the desert winds of the oven. 8. Thou shalt not crowd thy pan. Give each piece space to breathe, lest steam rob thee of golden crust and juicy flesh. 9. Spread the gospel. Moisture is life. Whisper it as Brother Sulae would, so future generations may feast in tenderness. 10. If all else fails, shred and sauce. Transform thy dry chicken into tacos, salads, or casseroles, and let no mistake go to waste. And now, beloved flock, as you depart from this sacred kitchen, let the lessons of juicy salvation dwell in your hearts and skillets. Go forth with courage, armed with brine, butter, and the beater of chicken meat, the tenderizing mallet. Let every meal be a testimony to the power of patience, flavor, and love. And remember, moisture is life. Can I get an amen?
So the next time you're tempted to take a shortcut and cook a chicken breast flip-flop, remember it doesn't take long to tenderize it, brine it, and then cook it. You'll do it, and you'll be confident that you and those you're cooking for will enjoy their meal. Life is too short for crap beer and way too short for dry chicken. And there you go. You'll find that I'll often refer to this process when preparing chicken for a recipe. Sometimes the beer in that recipe will be the prepared chicken from this beer brine chicken recipe. Now, are you hungry for more? Head over to beerandIron.com for the printable version of this beer brine chicken recipe and a whole collection of cast iron kitchen and camp recipes, many with step-by-step videos to guide you. If you've enjoyed today's episode, share your own cast iron stories or favorite recipes with us at beerandIron.com and join the conversation. I've got to tell y'all, if your skillet's hot and your beer's still cold, well, doggone, you're doing it just right. Thanks for sharing a seat at the table and a story by the stove. Stay sizzling, keep the tales flowing, and we'll toast together next time on beerandIron.com.